In this section, we're going to continue working on the index.js file. We're going to focus on creating a React component. Before we do that, however, I want to very quickly tell you about exactly what a React component is. All right, so quick diagram. A React component is a function or a class. Back on CodePen with that quick example we did a while ago, you saw an example of a class-based component. But we can also create them as a function. The purpose of a component that is either a function or a class is to produce HTML that we're going to show to the user. Its secondary purpose is to handle feedback from the user. So for example, anytime a user clicks or types or drags or any type of event like that. In order to produce content or HTML to show the user, we're going to write out some amount of JSX. Remember, JSX is that stuff that kind of looks like HTML. In order to handle feedback from the user, remember, we're going to use those things called event handlers. We'll talk about this other step right here, handling feedback, a little bit later on. Right now, our focus is just on showing content to the user and using some amount of JSX. So let's now flip back over to our index.js file. And underneath this comment, we're going to create a new function component. So I'm going to say const app is equal to a function. And inside of here, I'm going to return a div that has the text hi there, like so. And that's it. That is a function-based component right there. Now, this is a component that is using a function with the function keyword. You will very frequently see this rewritten using a ES2015 arrow function instead. It would look a little like that. So rather than putting the function keyword, we put an arrow, which is the equals and then greater sign on the other side of the parentheses. Then inside of the function component, we return a little bit of JSX right here. So now that we've got a function-based component put together, we're going to take that React component and we're going to show it on the screen in our browser. So to do so, I'm going to add a little bit more code down here at the bottom. I'm going to say React DOM. Remember, DOM has capital D-O-M dot render. And then I'm going to open up a function call, and I'm going to expand it like so, just to give myself a little bit more space to type. For the first argument, I'm going to take that app component that we just created, and I'm going to put it into JSX tags, or essentially what looks like HTML tags. So I'll put in app like so. I'll then put a comma for my second argument, and the second argument is going to be a reference to a DOM element that already exists inside of our HTML file. And you might pause right there and say, Stephen, wait, what? HTML file? What HTML file? Well, we haven't really spoken about it just yet, but you'll notice that inside that public directory, we have a index.html file. Right now, anytime that someone goes to localhost 3000, they get sent this HTML file right here. Inside of this HTML file, you can scroll down to the body. And inside the body, you'll see that there is a div with an ID of root. By convention, in a create React app generated application, we're going to take our component and render it or display it inside of this div with ID root right here. So we need to essentially get a reference to this div with ID root. And then we are going to pass it as the second argument to the React DOM.render call back over here inside of our index.js file. To do so, I'm going to write out document.querySelector, and I'll pass it a string with #root like so. So that call right there is going to get a reference to that div with an ID of root. This is a built-in native function that is available in all browsers. So we don't have to import anything or do anything like that in order to use it. Okay, so that's pretty much it. That is the 3 steps we have to go through to get some content to appear in our browser. Let's now save this file. Now, just so you know, when I save this file, you might see my code jump just a little bit because I have a automatic code formatter. Yep, there it is. So it just did a little jump right there, just reformatted itself. Still the exact same stuff. It just condensed down to 1 line. Now that I've saved this file, I should be able to flip back over to my browser at localhost 3000, and I'll see the content being produced from our function-based component appear on the screen. It says simply, hi there. Okay, so that's pretty much it. That's how we get some content to appear on the screen. We import React and React DOM, we create a React component, and then we take that component and show it on the screen using the React DOM library. So now that we've got a little scaffold here, we're going to take a pause, come back to the next section, and start to learn a lot more about JSX and how we interact with it. So quick pause, and I'll see you in just a minute.